The June 2026 campaign is winding down to an end now. In fact, I just completed it the other day, so I assume there's plenty of people in the same boat as me. No pun intended. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Tier 7 Russian destroyer Provorny. I've got a different build than I used in my review. This is decidedly not a free to play build. We're running Rumble with a full gunboat build, basically. His two inspirations are a little bit different than what I would typically run on the Soviet destroyer Rumble build. We have Sims, which I normally would run for more HP, but then we've got the old collaboration or Halloween Russian destroyer commander Sergio Splendento, whose base trait improves destroyer gun turret traverse speed, which I think is useful for the Provorny because I think the worst thing you can say about it is that it has pretty slow turret traverse. And in my initial review of the ship, I don't think I emphasized just how much this thing can perform the sort of classically expected role of a destroyer. The Soviet destroyers like the Tashkent, the Delny, the Khabarovsk, those are all sort of open water gunboat destroyers that are played, or can be played, more like little agile cruisers without citadels. They farm damage from open water, they invite the enemy to shoot back at them, and then they're fast and maneuverable enough to dodge a lot of the incoming fire and, in that way, take pressure off of their teammates. But you typically don't think of them as being very good at contesting caps and the like. The Provorny's a bit of a different story. It can certainly perform the gunboat role, which is why I've got Rumble at the helm, but at the same time, it's probably better than its Soviet peers, like the Tashkent, for example, at actually contesting caps. I mean, on this build, we do have the Look at Me Now skill, which reduces the sea detectability by 6% when fully maxed. And we've got the concealment module in the third slot, of course. This gives us a detect of 5.8, which certainly isn't great, but it's below 6, and I find that it will often outspot destroyers at this tier. And in this battle, we're not really going to do a lot of farming with the main battery guns. We're mostly going to be doing conventional destroyer things. We're not going to end with a tremendous flashy amount of damage, but what we are going to do, I think, has quite a bit of battle impact. As you can see, we've sailed into the Alpha Cap. Majority of the blue team is coming with us, and we're just content to sit here and try to take it. Although we suspect there's probably a destroyer in the area. Some torpedoes did come by pretty recently. We just don't know quite where he is. So we'll continue inching forward through the cap. We're safe enough to not be detected. Cap keeps getting reset because they keep hitting our teammates in it. But we should be able to secure it eventually. Switching to the AP here, I don't think it would be a good idea to open fire on this Asturias or even the enemy destroyer should we spot it. And that is, of course, because there's that cruiser right there for one, and then there's 3-4 battleships over to the right-hand side of the screen. If we get spotted, all these guys are potentially going to start aiming at us and shooting. And even though we have Sims at the helm and we have quite a bit of HP for a destroyer at 21,420, it won't take long if we're focused by a large number of enemy ships. Anyway, we've taken the cap. There's the Z-23. We are, in fact, outspotting him. But, of course, he has sonar. And we don't want to start shooting at him for the same reason I just described. If we do, then we're going to get shot at and we're going to lose a lot of HP. Just doesn't seem necessary right now, especially since the Z-23 is moving away from the cap. There's Asturias there. We have a smoke screen ready to go. We decide now is the time we're going to shoot at the Asturias and simultaneously deploy the smoke screen. I'm not sure if this was really the right move here, but it ends up being okay. We're concealed before any of these 3-4 battleships can shoot at us, and ideally we'll be able to take this cap, but the Z-23 with his sonar is a little bit of a concern. I suppose now we can do a little bit of farming from inside of the smoke screen with the main battery guns. That's another nice thing about the Provorny. If you do want to use it as a gunboat, you can do so from the safety of a smoke screen. And you've also got the heal. Tashkent, Khabarovsk, Delny, they've all got to choose between a smoke screen and a heal. And with those, they are a little bit well, they're faster and more maneuverable in that sense. So I always take the heal on those because you can dodge a lot better. Not that you can in the Provorny. Again, it can play that role, but it's got a top speed on this build of 37.1 knots, which is with the speed flag in the last flag slot. Tashkent, for comparison's sake, has a speed of 46. So, yeah, it's not quite as fast, although it can, perform that similar role. Anyway, we've taken the Bravo cap. Z23 really hasn't been a problem. Flandre is pushing in along with the Z23. Now we'll get to deal some actual damage to him because we essentially have no choice. He's spotted us. But we're going to take ourselves around this island here. Flandre is looking a lot worse for the wear. He's going to be going back to port very quickly here. Maybe we'll even be able to yoink the kill with the main battery guns. Probably would be better to be shooting the AP, though. And Flandre does go down. Also, I think something I failed to mention in my initial video about the Provorny is that it does, on its center, have a 25mm plate, which is significant because most destroyers you're going to encounter are going to have guns around 127mm in size. Conventional high explosive penetration is calculated by taking the gun size in millimeters and dividing by 6. If you do that with 127, you get 21 point something. That means most destroyers, Z23 would actually be, I think, an exception, are not able to pen 25mm of plating. So they'll simply shatter your their HE off of your broadside. Z23, not so much. He's got bigger guns, German pen, so he can penetrate us, but the German HE is really not all that great, and it's not all that difficult to take out the Z23. We've also managed to attract the attention of the Tashkent 39. At some point earlier on in this battle, we had another destroyer teammate, but he's been dispatched. And so I'd say it's a good thing that the Tashkent 39 is hot on our case, because that thing is really a dedicated torpedo boat. A pretty good one, too, if you play it right. One thing it's not, though, definitely not, is any kind of threatening gunboat. It's only got 3 guns, and they're not particularly good. So we should have no problem taking him out. And still, even this late in the battle, theoretically, it could go either way. We're only ahead of the enemy on 1 kill. And I suppose it's turning into a little bit of a blowout, maybe, just because of the points differential, with us having taken all of the caps. And I suppose there'd be more of a threat of losing this battle if not every single one of those red battleships were all in the exact same place on the map. By doing that, they're simply guaranteeing that nobody on my team has to worry about getting crossfired by any of them, so it should be relatively easy to take them all out. The big problem will be the Tashkent, of course. He would be the key to the Reds winning this game if they have any chance. They would need his spotting. They'd probably need him to take a cap or 2 as well. And there he is. He's retreated all the way back to the, I guess, Alpha cap. And I suppose he is trying to take that cap and or sink the battleship inside of it. So now would be the time that we can actually use the Rumble build to do a little bit of open water gunboating. And of course I choose Rumble because his base trait increases the main battery range by 6% when he's fully maxed. And on top of that, he's got Glass Cannon, which provides a further 6% range buff. And then finally Sidestep in the 4th row, which provides a 10% range buff when it's fully maxed. Add on top of that the Speed Flag, which also buffs range by 3%, and we're looking at a main battery range of 14.6 kilometers. That is with the main battery reload mod as well, not with the range mod. So that is a tremendous amount of range. That should allow you to comfortably farm things from distance, even when you're not inside of a smoke screen. We still have 1 left, so we might as well use it. And now we'll be able to, I suppose, farm a little bit of damage off the broadsides of these battleships. The other good thing about the Provorny, which I think I did mention in the original video, is that the AP is improved. The maximum AP damage is 3,700, and it's got improved angles. Minimum ricochet angle of 50 degrees, guaranteed ricochet angle of 65. I think that's only about 5 degrees off of conventional penetration angles, but that little bit extra probably means you pen at steeper angles than you otherwise would. And as you can see, against a Tier 6 battleship like the West Virginia 44, which is a rare enough sight that you really don't see that often these days, well, the AP can shred through the upper belt armor and the superstructure, even at a slight angle. Does pretty good damage, too. I think we only had about 20k before we started this open water farming sequence, and now we're at 52. But look who's back. It's Tashkent 39, the grandest torpedo boat of them all at Tier 6. Not a good gunboat, as I said, though. You can see Tashkent 39 will shatter his HE against our 25mm plate, and he won't be able to deal much damage. But, I don't know, you'd be thinking with him being a torpedo boat, maybe he'd be more aware of torpedoes. Guess not. Devastating strike, 74,000 damage, only one battleship left. And that's about all the damage we're going to do in this game. So like I said, not very glorious exactly. 75,000 isn't a tremendous amount. 4 kills is a lot. I suppose this could be a Xarkun if we're somehow able to yoink the kill on this Georgia W, but spoiler alert, it's not going to happen. Anyway, I just wanted to make this follow-up video because I think this is, even though it's not a flashy game in terms of damage done, it's a game that I think demonstrates the Provorny's ability to play the classic role of a destroyer, in the sense that it can get out there, take caps, do spotting, and counter other enemy destroyers. It's very good at all of that stuff. Doesn't have any utility like a sonar that you would find on the Germans, but what it does have is pretty great guns, a heal, decent speed, the ability to perform the role of a classic destroyer, coupled with the ability to be sort of an open water gunboat like the other Soviets. And we do end this game with 3,075 base XP. I think that suggests we had some pretty good battle impact along with the friendly Jean Bart. GG to him. But anyway, if you're skeptical of Provorny because it's a Soviet destroyer, I'd still recommend completing this campaign. This thing is spicy. It's good at being a destroyer. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.